The Center on Capitalism and Society has been in existence for 6 years. So we are celebrating the 6th annual conference, and we are focusing on the issue of the financial crisis. Why do we look at the financial crisis? Because the topics of the center are economic dynamism and social inclusion. And what happens is that to have dynamism in an economy, we need to have a strong financial sector.
Well, I think we need some new injections of energy into the American economy to ramp up the innovation, the propensity to innovate in the system. And for sure, one of the things we have to do is create a kind of bank that specializes in, that's dedicated to lending to businesses for a long-term investment and for innovation.
On the one side, we rely on regulators rather than depositors to force bankers to exercise prudence. On the other side, we have let bankers take risks which are far beyond the capacity of the bankers themselves to monitor, much less the regulators. And then we have a system of corporate governance, which is flawed for all companies, but is particularly dangerous for financial services companies.
The group that we have invited to this conference is very diverse. We have policymakers, we have people who had been policymakers in the past, we have top journalists, we have top economists, and we also have very important people from the private sector.
Our lunch speaker is Paul Volcker. He's probably, I think there's little doubt that he's the most distinguished figure in the financial sector in the United States, and come to think of it, in the world.
The interesting thing is that economists in emerging markets thought that they had decoupled from the US economy and other industrial economies. And what we have seen in this crisis is that they have been very much hit by the crisis in the US and in Europe.
Much of the tax cut is being sold on the tax cut part of the stabilization package is being sold on the idea that we want to stimulate consumption demand. This just 2 years after almost everybody on the planet was agreed that the United States had to cut back consumption demand and do more saving. So it seems like there's one great big effort, kind of an unthinking effort to put Humpty Dumpty back together again, and that's not going to work.
I think this university is particularly in a very privileged situation, because first of all we are in New York, and in New York you have access and everybody goes through New York, so the ability to draw people into the work of the center and into discussions, and when countries are in crisis, it's very important to debate the issues and to debate the policies on how to come out of the crisis.
Well, the center is called, we decided to call it the Center on Capitalism and Society. For sure it's a center on capitalism. It doesn't exist to boost capitalism, though some of us feel very strongly about its value. But it's more a center to investigate how capitalism works and what kinds of benefits and costs does it throw off.
I think the comparative advantage of a bunch of serious scholars does not lie in telling you what you should do tomorrow to deal with this, that, or the other institution. I think our contribution ought to be in thinking about the long term, what really went wrong at its roots, what needs to be fixed. And I hope that's what the conference does.